F. Elmore, President and Founder of the proud Black Buddhist World Association. 2020 marks the 50th year of our being a Buddhist. It is my greatest prayer in life that I become not just a Buddhist, but it is my prayer that I become a proud Black Buddhist. Now, it is my heartfelt prayer that I am able to particularly get the Japanese out of my mind, heart, and soul. I was introduced to Buddhism by Japanese, or particularly Asians, and what I learned through research and study is that the Asians have extricated all of the Black Buddhist history, all of the Black Buddhist culture, and all of the Black Buddhist language out of the annals of Buddhist history. People believe that Buddhism is an Oriental religion, whereas Buddhism did not get to China, or the Lotus Sutra did not get to China until 1,000 years after the death of the Buddha, and another 400 years after the death of the Buddha. And that means 1,400 years before Buddhism ever got to Japan. Prior to that, Buddhism is the teachings and the religion of Black people. However, the Asians have extricated all Black Buddhist history, culture, and language. Now, today, I bring you one of our most exciting Black Buddhist lectures. And I challenge any white man, any Asians, or African Americans who are trained by Asians and white to challenge me on this subject. You see, white people and Asians and some people often write me and they says, why is it that you want to make Buddhism black or make Buddhism white, or why do you bring race into Buddhism? Well, today we are going to bring you emphatic and empirical evidence of why there should be and why we deal with a white and why we deal with a Black Buddhism. You see, Buddhism is heartbreaking in that all the Asians have taken all the Black Buddhist history out of Buddhism. But anyway, my lecture today is Buddhism and high blood pressure. You see, I went to the doctor, and this was on December 27th, 2019. I went to get some dental work done, and I was told that after they took my blood pressure, that I needed to immediately go to the emergency room. Now, I was really pissed off that they told me that my blood pressure was so high that I was a walking around heart attack. And I was pissed off because I could not believe, not me, Anthony F. Elmore, a 5-time world karate kickboxing champion, whose blood pressure is so high that he needed to go to the emergency room of a hospital. Well, I was not about to go to any emergency room. Now, in fact, I went into action. I changed my lifestyle. I started to run. I started to diet. And so what happened was, 6 weeks later, I came back to the doctor's office again, and they took my blood pressure again, and they says, your blood pressure is worse. Now I was running, I was dieting, I had changed my whole lifestyle, but my blood pressure was worse. And I could not believe it. They told me, don't come back to see us unless you get a written statement from a doctor. I then go to a doctor, and now I've changed my diet. I'm running, I'm jogging, I'm exercising, hadn't had a Coke, hadn't had an ice cream, nothing sweet, no coffee, I never drank, never smoked. But what happened was, what I learned in the doctor's office, and they did an EKG on me, and what they found was, and what they told me was, they said your blood pressure has nothing to do with your lifestyle, but your blood pressure is up high for two reasons. Number one, it's genetics, and number two, it's your advanced age. I had just turned 67 years old, and I was running extremely high blood pressure. Now, that doctor gave me some medicine, and she says, you come back here in 3 weeks. Man, I walked out of that office, and I said to myself, after looking at all those people in that doctor's office, I said, she can kiss my ass. The doctor, she had a son that works there. He had a big old pot gut. He's maybe 25 years younger than me. He's not in the shape that I'm in. And then all the people who I saw in the doctor's office who taking all this blood pressure medicine, I said, wait a minute, who's taking all the medicine? I said, hell, they look terrible. If that is an example of what I should do or who I'm going to be, I don't want to be that. In fact, my friend Tim, who lives with me, he says, look, man, I will buy the blood pressure medicine for you. They wanted to charge me $125 for 3 types of blood pressure medicine. And Tim says, man, you should take the medicine. I told Tim, Tim, you can kiss my ass. Look, I took my ass to Walmart. I bought a mixer. I began to even get further into my diet. I got in front of this Gohansan, and I began to study black people and high blood pressure. And I found out that we African Americans have a unique circumstance of all the black people in America, in that African Americans, even though we could take blood pressure medication, it doesn't work for us the way it works for white people or other nationalities. Even black people who were not born in America, they respond to blood pressure medicine different than African Americans. In fact, the same blood pressure medicine that will work for a white man does not work for African Americans. You got to understand that we African Americans come up in a culture of slavery and a culture of Jim Crow law. And our bodies had to adjust to some of the worst inhumanity against humanity was this chattel slavery. And our bodies does not handle salt. Our body does not excrete the salt. And our culture and our diet have us to be overweight. We got more diabetes, more heart attacks, more strokes, more bad health than any group in America. And the reason that we have such bad health is because of high blood pressure. One of the greatest benefits that I've had since becoming a Buddhist, especially in 2020, is being diagnosed with high blood pressure. Because I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, there's a thing in the Lotus Sutra that teaches us, means to literally change poison into medicine. Even though I had high blood pressure, what the high blood pressure did, the high blood pressure awakened my Buddhist faith in that I was able to change my spirit. It was not the gods who helped to change me, but it was the demon. See, high blood pressure is a demon. High blood pressure for black people, and the way we respond to it is the residual effect of slavery. It's the residual effect of Jim Crow laws. You see, we African Americans have the worst and the highest blood pressure of any group in America, and this is unique to African Americans. In fact, there is no Asian, a white man, a black person who can explain or who can deal with the subject or explain why black people in America have such high blood pressure. You see, African Americans develop high blood pressure at younger ages than other groups in the U.S. Number two, African Americans are more likely to develop complications associated with high blood pressure. These problems include a stroke, kidney disease, diabetes, blindness, heart disease. You see, these are the facts. African Americans living in America must understand genetic factors. You see, genetic factors, high rates of high blood pressure in African Americans is due to our genetic makeup. Researchers have uncovered some facts in the U.S., and blacks responded differently to high blood pressure drugs than other groups. Blacks in the U.S. also seem to be more sensitive to salt, which increases the risk of high blood pressure. Let me put this into common sense terms. White people and other ethnic groups can take blood pressure medication and get a different result from the medicine. Black people or blood pressure medicine works different for white people than it does for black people. You see, there are questions that we must understand. A 45-year-old African-American man residing in the Southeast has a stroke risk of a 55-year-old white man in the Southeast and a 65-year-old white man residing in the Midwest. Just Google and read about African Americans and high blood pressure. Black people living in America are more likely to have a heart attack, a stroke, kidney disease, diabetes, and all kinds of health problems that white people and Asians do not have as much. You see, a white man and an Asian can take these blood pressure medications and they can take it, but the same medication will kill black people. You see, let me tell you a story. I didn't have health insurance, so I do have Medicare. I'm 67 years old and I went to this Indian doctor and she prescribed me 3 pills that I should go take. And I walked out of the office and I said, I'm not about to go take that mess. I didn't read up about it, but I knew that I was a Buddhist. I knew that I had a spirit, and I knew that through chanting, Nam Myo Renge Kyo, through chanting, through the Buddhist practice, you can change. When you read scientific studies, it tells you that through chanting and through meditation, you can bring your blood pressure down. So why should I go take a medicine when I can organically, I can chant, I can practice? When you chant Nam Myo Renge Kyo, you can bring your blood pressure down. You can be more healthy. You can be a better person. But how do we know this? Why should we chant? See, some people want to put religion in terms that you don't believe in Jesus. It has nothing to do with whether you believe in Jesus or not. But through chanting Nam Myo Renge Kyo, You can calm your mind. You can develop the mind. You can develop the thinking. You can develop the tools to whereas you can change your life. So through chanting, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, you can even bring your blood pressure down. Now it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that's magical. But it has to be a life-changing practice that I began to study what the Mayo Clinic teaches. And the Mayo Clinic says that you can naturally bring your blood pressure down. You can through exercise and through diet and through chanting, you can bring your blood pressure down. So I decided that I was not going to listen to this doctor, but I was going to get into my Black Buddhist practice and I was going to chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, and every day I eat the right foods, I get up and I exercise, and I live to see that blood pressure go down even beyond levels that a man my age should have. Now, it doesn't stay, it goes back up, but what I also learned that as you go and as you lose weight, as you exercise, for every 2 pounds that you lose, your blood pressure goes down a point. So that means if I lose 20 pounds, I can bring my blood pressure down to a natural level. But there's also something that we must understand, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a racist society. Whether you know it or not, you as an African American, you could go somewhere and see a Confederate flag. Whether you know it or not, these Confederate flags work on your blood pressure. See, when I look and I go into a business or I go somewhere and there are no black people around, whether I know it or not, I start getting nervous. I want to see a black movie. I want to see black people because I am comfortable, because living in America, you go through racism, you go through white supremacy, you live in Trump's America. When he said, let's make America better, what he is saying, let's make America white. Let's deal in white supremacy. But what is even worse, that when you go to these Buddhist meetings, there is no African Americans who actually run anything. Nichiren Shoshu Buddhism, they don't have African American priests. African Americans have no role. All of the history has been cut out of Buddhism. And this in itself is that when you go around institutions or you go around places, that you are in an inferior position, you're running your blood pressure. But if you decide that you are going to make a difference in your life, you can chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, and you can change, and you can bring your blood pressure. Please understand that all of the major religions practiced in America, Buddhism is the only major religion where you will not find a black man who is respected as a Buddhist in the African American community. You see, what men do, men build things, men build their own institutions, they build their own things. What you will find in the Buddhist religion, you will find a culture where black men are subordinate to Asian men or subordinate to white people. So, our blood pressure runs up because we are in subordinate, we are in inferior position. See, this runs your blood pressure. Now, I am more afraid of white supremacy and racism than I am of the coronavirus. We are fighting against the coronavirus, and we will find a cure. Now, to find a cure against white supremacy and racism, that is more deadlier to African Americans than the coronavirus. You see, high blood pressure and white supremacy and racism is often a silent killer. You see, when you have to act like a pretzel and you go into environments that's not your culture, that's not your history, that you are not included, and you have to face this subliminal type of racism that runs your blood pressure. Let me give you an example. This altar was made in Africa. Everything in my house is made in Africa because we make our black history, our culture, and our language inclusive of our Buddhist practice. Now, in 2000, I think it's 2013, I think 2012, our priest, who was a Nichiren Shoshu priest, Reverend Shinji Iwaki, had the nerve, had the audacity to come into this house. Now, this house is in Orange Mound. Orange Mound is the first neighborhood in America built for blacks, by blacks. In addition to that, this is the first home, or the first all-African home in America. And this Japanese priest had the audacity, the gumption to come into this house, and he said, let's leave culture out of Buddhism. What that Japanese man meant was, let's leave black culture out of Buddhism, because there's no way in the world that a black man could go to Japan and tell a Japanese to leave Japanese culture out of Buddhism. He'd cuss you out. You see, the silent killer of high blood pressure is the culture, it's the racism, and the very thing that African Americans look to Buddhism for. Buddhism is actually killing black people because you are in a dominant Japanese or Asian cultural imperialistic society or culture or religion where your black history, your culture is not included. In fact, you see, Asians took away all of the black history. For example, when we look at this Gohanzan, now the Gohanzan is a scroll, but in that scroll, Nichiren Shonin, first of all, was black. Secondly of all, the Gohanzan has so many African gods and so much black history that this Gohanzan could be a black history book. Now, the Asians or the Japanese masters who teach Buddhism, they have extricated all black history, all black culture, all language from Buddhism, and what you're practicing is a type of Buddhism that's based on white supremacy, or it's based on Asian or Japanese cultural imperialism. Anyway, the very thing that is supposed to make us strong and supposed to make us healthy is actually killing you. So the way they teach Buddhism is actually killing you. Now, this lecture is called Buddhism and High Blood Pressure. And the way to not have high blood pressure is do Namu. Namu means to awaken. You awaken to your culture. You awaken to the correct cause and effect teachings. And the correct cause and effect teachings is to build yourself up, to build your community up, to build your life, to build your thinking up, to calm your mind. You cannot have a calm mind if you are in an Asian cultural imperialistic environment. Anyway, I think you got it. My lecture today is Buddhism and High Blood Pressure. My name is Anthony Elmore, President and Founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. Thank you very much.